Again, we won't comment unless it's factually incorrect. So it's really about monitoring those stories. But we also launched a campaign last year, hashtag MyShinola, which is simply taking user-generated content of them wearing their watch styled, and people get pretty clever with how they use the product, and then we feature those on our e-com pages as well as on social.
Yeah, I'm sure it's very visually appealing too. So is Instagram a big one for you guys?
Definitely, and we're actually working on some improvements there as well. We do a ton of video content, and at least I feel like we don't utilize it as much as we can, so we're creating a space within the site called the Argonite, which is also the name of our movement, which will be sort of a home for all of our content.
Great. And Ellie, how about you guys? When are you talking to the consumer as opposed to just telling them your story?
So our fans are the center of our brand. They've been with us. They actually coined our world famous recipe. And it's one of those things that we focus on them and what they want. And they help drive the brand story. So we have, our signature blue stripes and our awnings and our Garrett logo that's, kind of old school mom and pop shop looking. And we use their stories and their affiliation with the brand along with some of our own marketing tactics, promotions, events, things that we have going on to kind of integrate a full marketing plan that allows us to connect with the consumers while giving them the right story and kind of controlling the conversation, but also letting them take it for what they will. We had our 65th anniversary last September. So one of the things that we did was in Chicago, we wanted to celebrate with all the fans all over. And we rented a trolley, branded it with Garrett popcorn all over, and started giving away and sharing Garrett popcorn with everybody around town in all these different spots and outside of our shops. And we also had 65-cent bags and then $19.49 tins because we were born in 1949, which was the lowest price point. We never discount. We're high quality product. It's a little more expensive. People question our price point at times, but when you try it, it really makes sense to you, and it's kind of a luxury good in a way. And so we were going out and not only activating around our 65th anniversary, but seeking out fans to tell their 65th story and how they affiliate with the brand, and then continuing that through on our social channel and all of our marketing channels so that we can best tell our story from their perspective and ours.
Great. And I don't know if everyone here is familiar. You said that your fans contributed to creating your world famous recipe, and what is that recipe?
So our world famous recipe is a sweet and savory mix of caramel crisp and cheese corn. It was originally coined the Chicago mix based off of our fan voting here in Chicago many years ago, and is now rebranded as the Garrett mix. Because there's a lot of popcorn companies around the world and confectionery brands that try to do what we do, but we have secret family recipes, so no one really knows how to make the perfect goodness that we have. So we kind of rebranded it and shifted away from kind of Chicago style, Chicago mix, Chicago everything that everybody tries to make nowadays.
Right, well, I'm sure you guys brought some, so it's going to be really great to try it. And so I know you guys are both based in America and have great roots in two American cities, and do you think that contributes to being able to tell a very authentic story? A lot of times brands, they don't want to force it, and if they feel too corporate, too isolated from their consumer, but they're trying to hop on this brand storytelling, it can feel forced. So how do you make sure that you're fitting in with what your background is while telling a story that really connects and is authentic?
I think ultimately you have to walk the talk. So for us, it was challenging at first going into Detroit that, had their guards up a little bit because they've had other people come into town and say they're going to do big things and then nothing really happens. So of course, when you go out there and you market yourself connected to this city, our fellow Detroiters are our biggest critics. And so we have to make sure that we're honest with them. But we went from a dozen people when I first started a few years ago to now over 350 people, most of which working in Detroit, most of which are Detroiters. So I think you just have to walk the talk. The city can absolutely be part of the story, but again, it has to be authentic.
Right, and now, the Apple Watch is here, so how does that fit into your watch story?
We were excited.
Yeah.
So excited, we took a couple of ads out poking fun, but some of you might have seen the Runwell, a watch so smart it can tell you the time just by looking at it. The Runwell's just smart enough. But for us, honestly, it was an opportunity because you had people who probably weren't interested in wearing a watch all of a sudden thinking about wearing something on their wrist and,
Absolutely.
potentially buying a smartwatch as well as a Shinola or another branded watch.
Great, yeah, I think that's a great timely opportunity for you guys to get in on the conversation.
Definitely, it's a huge opportunity, and the watch world was a little scared at first, but I think it's opening new customers to the category.
For us, I mean, that authenticity and kind of American-centric brand is really a core value in who we are and what we represent. You know, it was created by the Garrett family, and we've carried that through. We have a different ownership now, but we're a privately held small company, but again, shops worldwide. And I think the challenge for us is helping make a Chicago brand relevant in Detroit, Atlanta, New York, and Las Vegas, where we have domestic shops, but also in our international markets. So right now, we have a great affinity. We are a Chicago brand, but specifically of our international markets and our Asian markets, we are an American brand, and that is what helps us supersede a lot of other brands, and also our high-quality, handcrafted, gourmet, locally sourced nature, no preservatives, non-GMOs, that kind of foodie, relevant lifestyle that people are living and paying closer attention to the quality of what they're eating has really helped us worldwide, but specifically with our Asian market and expansion that we're going through.
Great. And obviously the conversation always turns back to, do you think a brand story can really help drive product? Is it, at the end of the day, are you guys making sales based off of the story that you're telling?
I'll actually say for both of our brands, I think in a way, and correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, it's the brand story, but it's also the product. I mean, they tie so seamlessly together. We have such a strong Chicago traditional brand, American brand, and that's part of why people like Garrett. It's an experience. They love going to our shops. We look at that as a huge feature of our brand, but at the end of the day, they go to our shops because we sell amazing handcrafted gourmet popcorn, right? And I think that's true to what you guys are building.
Absolutely. If you could have this great story and this great mission, but at the end of it, there isn't fantastic product that matches that story, then you're dead in the water.
Right.
And I think, you know, I think for both brands as well, people like to tell stories about the things that they purchase. You know, they like to tell the story of, oh, this company's been making popcorn in Chicago for, you know, forever and decades, and you know, Shinola, they're based in Detroit. Do you know their story? I've been on a plane and someone's wearing a Shinola and I'm like, hey, nice watch, and they, you know, launch into this great story. I think for people today, meaning is luxury, right? Being able to have an emotional connection to the products that you buy.
Great, yeah, so like you said, if you can't have a great story without a great product, otherwise people aren't going to share it.
You have to start with product.
I think we're fortunate enough to have two great brands and brand stories that help us supersede the product and everything that we're pushing out. But of course, it relies on the fans and their affinity to it. And I think social media, in a way, the vulnerability that it opens you up to can be kind of scary at points, but also incredible. We have been able to share our story tenfold with people because of them sharing their stories. I mean, we had an officer that was based in Afghanistan last summer, and he said, oh, I'm from Chicago and I love Garrett popcorn. I want to share it with my whole troop, and you know, how do we get it overseas? And we're like, oh, we don't have a shop there, we don't ship overseas, you know, what do we do? So we connected with him and said, on Facebook, you know, said, hey, send us a private message, let's chat. He connected us to his cousin who lives in the US and said, oh, we're actually sending a care package over, and we shipped him a complimentary tin and said, we want to share Garrett popcorn with all of these amazing troops and this American patriotism that we're a part of. And we got it to his cousin shipped it over, and then he posted a photo on our Facebook page and was like, thank you, Garrett popcorn, this is amazing, my troop is loving it, you know, and that was like that brand win, you know.
Absolutely.
Yes, it was us complimentary gifting it to somebody, but the ability to see that story and how it kind of reverts internationally was truly, truly amazing for us.
Yeah, and social media just gives a better way to share the story and spread it around.
And we wouldn't have known he was there and he had a, you know, affinity to the brand.
Absolutely. So we're going to open up the floor to questions. Do you guys have any questions for Bridget or Ellie about their brand stories? We have microphones over on the left. No? Well, I'm interested, if you know, anyone else, feel free to interrupt if a question comes up, but how are you guys deciding what new platforms to jump on? Was Pinterest a decision anywhere? Was Instagram a big decision? What conversation goes into deciding what new social media tools to try?
You want to go first? Or?
Sure. Well, a lot of it is resources. So we, like I said, have a small team, and while we want to be on every single platform that's relevant to our community, we want to make sure that we're focusing on the big communities we already have. We're about 450,000 fans worldwide on Facebook, which doubled in the past year. So we've really been focusing. We do have a great market there. But Twitter, Instagram is a huge platform for us as well, but we're still trying to figure out how to track that ROI and the conversion. So we're doing some different tests through different technology partners that we have, and figuring out really, what's the value in us spreading our brand story versus actually sharing, promotional products and things that do much better on Facebook versus Instagram versus where we will be with Snapchat,
Right.
or Vine or Meerkat or Periscope.
There's a lot of
So
them.
we're still testing and learning, which is really fun. And being a mom and pop shop brand, we're not first to market. And while we'd like to be, we of course look at a lot of the big high-end luxury good retail shops and see what they're doing and say, that fits with our brand or it doesn't fit with our demographic. And here's something that we'll take away as a learning and reiterate it towards our strategy moving forward.
Great. Bridget, how about you guys?
And for us, similar thing, we're a small team, so we really pick channels that, we feel can best represent the brand and that we have the capability of feeding the right content through that channel. Pinterest and Instagram, of course, being major ones for us, and then Facebook and Twitter. For instance, we're not on Tumblr because I don't feel we have exactly the right content yet to be on there, so when we're
Right.
ready, we will, but we won't just do it just to be
It
there.
kind of goes back to not forcing it because that compromises the story itself.
Exactly.
All right, great. Well, we're just about out of time. Thank you, ladies, both, and we'll take it off. All right.
All right,
Thank
thanks,
you.
guys.
Thank you.